The day has come where we explore everything in the 2025 NFL Draft. The Washington Commanders have a lot to do. They have a lot to work on. They have a lot to get to. All right. And so we are going to dive into everything draft related today, probably about a 2.5 hour stream here. We have a lot to talk about in this stream. All right. We're going to go over every single player that the Washington Commanders could acquire. Why can they acquire them? Everything. So, we're going to start off talking about the re-signing that was made early last night. You had the Washington Commanders re-signing Jalen Holmes. Obviously very important on that D-line, but nothing special. Um, he's going to beef up the D-line, right? He's going to be a threat for other teams on the D-line, but he's not really he's not a guy that is special or anything. I like the signing because I think you needed more guys on the D line, but I don't mind the signing. I kind of thought they needed to re-sign him. I like the re-signing, but I just think that um we could have gotten one of those guys in the draft. Whatever. Jalen Holmes is back on the Washington Commanders. We obviously re-signed Sheldon Day. He likes those D linemen, so I like it too. I don't mind that. I think that's fine. You can re-sign those guys as long as you're not paying them, as long as you're not overpaying them. And we needed to beef up the D line more, so I like that re-signing. So just my quick thoughts there. About the Jalen Holmes re-signing that happened last night. Now, as far as the next thing, that was just a quick. We're gonna start talking about pick 29 here, right off the bat. Obviously, free agency didn't go the best. We did some things, right? We did some. I'm not, I thought free agency went okay. I didn't think it went perfect. I think it went okay. A lot of people were complaining. I wasn't one of those complainers. I'm going to trust Adam Peters and everything that he does. I'm not one of those complainers. I'll start off by saying that. I am not a complainer about the Adam Peters free agency. And quite frankly, how can you complain when the guy took us to an NFC championship in year one? You can't, in my opinion. So, I'm not one of those complainers. I'll just start off by saying that. I didn't complain about free agency. But the way that free agency did go, we have a lot of work to do, especially at the edge rusher position, as a lot of you know. I'd like to get a cornerback too, which we will. And you guys, a lot of you guys think that Adam Peters doesn't hear or know what we need on this football team. Adam Peters knows everything. Adam Peters knows more than you and I. Okay. He knows all of that. He knows what we need. So I'm not going to stress about it, but we are going to talk about who we could sign or who we could draft. Sorry. At pick 29. Do we trade back? There's another thing. There's so much to talk about here. And we're going to start by, I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to show you kind of the experts. What do the experts think? So just to give you a quick rundown, here are the top edge rushers. And I'm not saying the Commanders are going to get one of these guys, but here are the top edge rushers from this draft. These are the elite guys. You have Abdul Carter, who's going way before pick 29. He is not an option for the Washington Commanders. James Pierce Jr., he's going to go before the Washington Commanders can get to him, sadly. But he could be an option. I mean, who knows? He could fall. But it says Pierce is the kind of athlete with the production and disruption scores you don't let out of the first round. So he's definitely not going out of the first round. He's going to be mid first round. I would assume. Mike Green, obviously another elite guy. Like I said, these are the elite guys here for the edge rusher position. The big board rank, he's number 13. Mike Green, I think, is a little bit overrated. He had one day at the Senior Bowl where he balled out and he cooked an Oregon offensive lineman. I think that day has really gotten him overhyped. I don't think too high of him, actually. I actually think these two guys at the bottom are better than Mike Green. I don't know if he's going to be able to start out his career the way that everybody expects him to in in the good, being a great edge rusher. By the way, if you're in here, leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel. The next guy in this list is Donovan Ezeiruaku of Boston College. He's an outside linebacker, obviously edge rusher. He struggles with certain aspects of the game, but he is a good player and he has high football IQ. Studies show that the Washington Commanders, Adam Peters, drafts guys with high football IQ. Just going off of Brandon Coleman, he scored on the IQ test, one of the highest out of anybody. So that is definitely something you have to watch out for. Michael Williams out of Georgia, he would definitely be an option for the Commanders. He's definitely probably going to be there at 29, unless other guys fall. He's definitely going to be there. I like him too. I think he's definitely a threat for the Commanders. So that's going to round out the list of the elite edge rushers in this draft. Now we're going to get to some mock drafts here, and this is from the Draft Network, very reliable source here. And on this network, the Washington Commanders are taking James Pierce Jr., the edge from Tennessee, who I just talked about was one of the elite edge rushers in this draft. Now, why do they think we're going to take James Pierce Jr.? Washington has either re-signed or added bodies at every position on defense so far in free agency, but a player that can win in isolation is a need up front. In this spot, they add an explosive and twitched up athlete in James Pierce Jr., whose ability to rush, standing up with his hand in the dirt, showcases a move piece head coach Dan Quinn could use in a variety of roles. Pierce has a way to go as an early down run defender, and his frame has room for added mass. But he had 107 pressures and 21 sacks the last 2 years in the SEC. That's very impressive. And he will hold weight for teams. Now, I already gave you my opinion. I would love the Commanders to draft Pierce Jr. Just looking at some of the stuff he's done, his stats, his size. I think he fits the Commanders in what they're looking for. But I think he's going to go before the Washington Commanders can get to him. They're going to have to trade up, which they're not doing, to make an attack for James Pierce Jr. I don't think he's there, but it is a respectable pick for this network. And then also, I'm just peeking at this. Trey Amos, we're going to get into cornerbacks later here. They have the Buffalo Bills taking Trey Amos. So just to give you kind of, what are they thinking here? So we've looked at these websites now, and I'm going to make mock drafts later. But let's talk about edge rushers. Okay. Let's talk about some certain edge rushers. Man, you have a lot of guys. This is a good draft for the edge rusher position, specifically. I've seen even Commanders fans take, a running back at pick 29, which I'm not in favor of. I think we need an edge rusher. Bad. More than a running back. I think you can survive without getting a top level running back in this draft if you're the Commanders. There's guys taking Mike Green. There's guys taking a lot of different players here. And we're gonna actually do a mock draft ourselves right now because we're looking at the edge rusher position. We're gonna do a mock draft ourselves. Before we do that, though, leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll go ahead and roll on with this. I am going to pull up a site where we can do a draft simulator, kind of what is going to take place here, and I'm going to present again to share the screen. I'm gonna kind of go through this pretty fast. So 7 rounds we'll go. Well, we're only focused on round 1 right now, so we'll go 1 round. Let's go 3 actually. 3. And then obviously the Commanders, we're going to enter the solo draft here. Make sure. Okay, it is Sharon. And And so they're going to start off by just manually, obviously, going through these. You have Abdul Carter, number 4, actually. And we're just going to wait till they get to the Commanders. Obviously, the Commanders a little bit deeper this year in the draft. We're normally in the top 10. And there you go. James Pierce Jr. going to the Falcons early on. You can see that in this mock draft. And okay, so it's time. What do we do here? Are we taking a straight up edge rusher? Or are we going to trade back? And I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to trade back. So here's the thing. If we trade back, it's honestly like, let's see, 29 to 42. I mean, that's only 13 positions back. It's going to be quite similar 13 positions back than it is at 29. You need to trade back to acquire more picks later on. This is going to come with, if we did this with the Jets, pick 73, okay, which is a very high, respectable pick for this draft, and pick 42, which, like I said, is 13 spots back, and you're not losing much. You're not losing much, in my opinion. But then we'd also have to give up pick 245 to the Jets, which I don't mind. That's a guy that is not going to do much anyway. So I'm in favor of this. I think we need to trade back. And then this is, you're getting a Buffalo pick 30. I wouldn't want to do this. You're going one spot back. You get a second round pick next year, but I think I want to do this Jets one. So we're going to accept that, and we're going to fall all the way back to number 42. And also, I mean, there's, that is kind of, that might not have worked out. So look here, while we went back to 42, the Jags ended up taking Mike Green, an edge rusher, and our pick at 29, Ezeiruaku, who we have a good chance of taking, is gone. So who are the edge rushers left? We need an edge rusher here. So say this is draft night. Who is left? You have Landon Jackson left. You have Tuamalu left, Ohio State. I don't think these guys are bad, but I think that obviously this is not the way that the draft's going to look, but, you went back far and you lost Mike Green. You lost Ezeiruaku. So if that's the way the real draft works out, I don't know if you want to go back to 42. But just say we're going to draft Landon Jackson here. And then you acquire pick 60. You have 61 already, and then you have 73 in a little bit. So we are going to leave this site for now because I wanted to. We're just starting with edge rushers. So we're going to leave that site. If you are in here, leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll continue. We're talking about edge rushers right now. I think the best possible edge rusher for the Commanders to get is James Pierce Jr. However, I've already said I don't think he's going to be there at 29. I don't. So a lot of people are going to want us to trade back, but obviously, and I know that was just a mock draft. I just traded back in the mock draft, and you lost 2 valuable edge rushers there. And then you're stuck with Landon Jackson at 51. So, I just think that trading back's a little bit risky, but however, you do acquire more picks. We don't have the most picks in this draft due to trades, due to Laramie Tunsil and Deebo Samuel trades. We don't have the most picks in this draft. And so, it's kind of scary to trade back, to be honest, but you do end up getting more picks. So, and by the way, I saw that the Commanders, they did actually, post a tweet that actually did have Ezeiruaku being drafted in their mock draft. And I'm going to show that to you guys, because I think that's very important to look at. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys what the Commanders, the official Twitter website, has so obviously mock draft Monday edition here. I'm going to show you guys what they put. They put at 29 Donovan Ezeiruaku, edge, Boston College. 28 James Pierce Jr., 30th Maxwell Hairston. And let's just kind of read into a little bit of this. Why do the Commanders think they're going to take Ezeiruaku? So the Washington Commanders entered their second offseason with general manager Adam Peters at the helm with several holes to fill, and one of the biggest was at edge rusher. No secret there. They need to find a player to get one-on-one to the quarterback. They need to find a player who can consistently disrupt quarterbacks. And that's really increased since free agency began. Dante Fowler Jr., who led the team in sacks with 11, is headed back to the Dallas Cowboys on a one-year deal. The team is focused on adding depth pieces and players with upside like Javon Kinlaw, but most of the top options have signed elsewhere. Though there are solid players still available, the Commanders appear to be lacking a true game changer at the position, which is edge rusher. However, the Commanders can still turn to the draft, and this year's class is considered to be heavy on pass rushing talent, even at 29th overall. Currently, the team's first of 5 picks. The expectations are therefore to be impactful players, and Podell has given Washington one of this year's best in Boston College, Donovan Ezeiruaku. Now, Ezeiruaku, 2024 ACC Defensive Player of the Year, whose 16.5 sacks was the second most in the nation. This could be a nice fit for Dan Quinn. And let's get into why exactly the Commanders would like him. Ezeiruaku can be explosive. He put up decent numbers with a 35.5-inch vertical. Okay, I would say that's good enough for Adam Peters. 9'11" broad jump. That doesn't really matter. 20-yard. He is undersized. Now, this is the thing. I feel like Adam Peters likes guys 6'3" and above. He's 6'2", 248 pounds. There's room for weight there. That's the only thing with Ezeiruaku, is he's slightly undersized a little bit. And you can move past that with certain guys. I hope the Commanders can, if they decide to draft him. Now, his size didn't stop him from being one of the most productive pass rushers in college football. He bounced back from a dip in sack production in 2023 with 2 in 13 starts by leading the ACC and ranking second in the FBS with 16.5. He was also third with 20.5 tackles for loss and led Boston College with 3 forced fumbles. He, 78.7 pass rush grade. And he 60 total pressures, 42 run stops. We need a guy who can stop the run too. But see, we also need a guy who can get to the quarterback one-on-one, which we don't have on this current roster. And that's pretty much all they have on this site so far. Which honestly, I like Ezeiruaku, and I think with the 29th pick in the NFL draft, yes, I think the Commanders stay at 29. I think they go with Ezeiruaku from Boston College at edge rusher / situational pass rusher as their first pick in the NFL draft. Now, I know I said I would like them to trade back. I think they need to get the best available guy at 29. Okay. And, I think, like I said, Pierce is going to be gone. There's a chance for Mike Green. I think you can probably rule out Green, though. He's a little bit undersized, and he's just not the fit for the Commanders, I don't believe. And so I think that the Commanders, with Pierce gone, Green is not the right fit. You have Mikael Williams from Georgia. There's just not many other options. I think you go with Ezeiruaku at 29. And I don't think they trade back. However, they could. They could. Like I just did that mock draft. I mean, they could trade back. Certainly. There is no doubt about that. So with all that being said, at 29, we have our guy, Ezeiruaku, out of Boston College at 29 is our new edge rusher. Are we done with edge rusher in the draft? No. Nope. We are not. We just lost Dante Fowler Jr. We need guys at edge rusher. And this is saying, that we don't get another guy in free agency. Right? So I think unless we get another guy in free agency, we have to get at least two. I think they go in the later round for the other one. In the later rounds for the other one. Edge rushers who fits the Commander's scheme, I think Ezeiruaku does. And I think that would work out perfect for the Commanders. Okay. Now let's pull up just one more mock draft to make sure that this guy's in the mix, because you need to dive deep into this stuff. We don't know if Ezeiruaku is going to be available at 29. Is there something wrong with him? Is he going to fall back? There's a bunch of things you have to worry about. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up. CBS Sports made a recent mock draft. We might do that one. Daniel Jeremiah mock draft 2.0. We'll look at that. I have a lot of respect for Jeremiah. I think he's a really good at what he does. Okay, so now let me share my screen again. If you are in here, leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let's go ahead and get into Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft here. So we don't care. All right, as we approach the Commanders, is there any edge rushers being taken? There's Genty, there's Hampton, Simmons, Henderson, Egbuka, Alexander. Okay, so no one big. Okay, so Daniel Jeremiah has us taking Jihad Campbell. I don't like this at all. We're not going to go for a linebacker. When he's allowed to rush, he flashes elite potential. That's what Jeremiah says. I'm not going to disagree with that. I do like him out of Alabama. But I think we need an actual edge rusher here. So, I'm not sure that I like that. I think we need to find a better mock draft here. So the Draft Network, we already looked at this. Let's go ahead and look at this. Okay. And we've stumbled upon our second mock draft with James Pierce Jr. being available at 29 and the Washington Commanders taking him. So, kind of what I expected, but like I've been saying, I don't think he's going to be there at 29. This guy's 6'5", 245 pounds. All right, 7.5 sacks last season. Now, I think this guy's perfect for the Commanders. I think if he's there at 29, you have to take him, no doubt. All right, if he's not there, I think Ezeiruaku is the guy. But if James Pierce Jr. is there at 29, I think you have to take him. The Commanders, Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, size. Pause. But size is the biggest thing. I mean, Dan Quinn and Adam Peters dream about these type of players like James Pierce Jr. 6'5". And I know size isn't everything, but this is the edge rusher they need and they want. Dan Quinn dreams about James Pierce Jr. Okay, I'm not going to lie. And you have Mike Green being taken early on. You have Mikael Williams going at 17 in this mock draft. So you have guys going. You have, obviously, Abdul Carter is not, we don't have a chance at him, but he was going at number 2. James Pierce Jr., if he's available at 29, we have to take him. And that's what the Commanders, I have confidence that they'll do. I'm going to trust Adam Peters and Dan Quinn to make the right decision here. I think they will take James Pierce Jr., if he's available at 29. If he's not, I think it's Ezeiruaku. But man, if Pierce is there, I think we jump on it. I think this mock draft is pretty much on point. I'm not going to lie to you. I think if he's there, you take him. And this mock draft also has guys in the later rounds. So 61, at 61, I don't want to get into the next segment of the show quite yet. We're going to continue on edge rusher. And just to make sure here, there is really no guys left in free agency. I mean, there's Darius Smith, Azeez Ojulari, but those two guys, the Commanders have called in on Ojulari. They have no more interest in him. They had a little bit at first. They have no more interest in Ojulari. Zadarius Smith, haven't heard much on him, but I would assume the Commanders would have made their move by now. So I don't think he's going to, maybe after the draft, but probably not. And just for those of you that are commenting, I will get to the comments at the end of the show. So everybody comment something. I'll get to it. I'll get to all of them at the end of the show. If you are in here, leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel. And we are going to continue in this mock draft. So James Pierce Jr. at 29 is this website. This is what they got. I don't mind it at all. I definitely do not mind James Pierce Jr. at 29. I think if he's there, you have to take him. I think he's the best possible edge for the position that we are in. So I don't mind this. I don't at all. I think this is a great mock draft right here. And I think James Pierce Jr. would fit well with the Washington Commanders. So with that, we're going to see here. We're going to move and we're going to do another mock draft simulator. Okay, we'll start. We'll do this website here. All right, so while we wait for this, leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Okay, it's loading. Obviously, we're going to be the Washington Commanders. Number of rounds, we're going to go 2 rounds, and fast. And we'll enter the draft room now. 29 and 61. So all we got is a 2-round draft in case we want to trade back. So, we'll start it off here. We have to get the Tennessee Titans pick in. And we need to show the drafted players. So, here's your top 3: Tennessee, Cleveland, the Giants. And here are the guys available down here. Cam Ward, probably going to go 1 overall. Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, Shadur Sanders, Mason Graham, Will Campbell. You have all those guys. And I'm actually not sure why this isn't going. Start. Okay. So we have started the mock draft. Here it goes. And we'll wait till they get to the Washington Commanders. So, who's going to be left at edge? Okay, so you see all these guys right here are taken. All these guys have been drafted. James Pierce Jr. is gone in this mock draft. So, James Pierce Jr. is gone. Like I said, he's probably going to be gone. If he's there, you take him. If he's not, you have to move on to someone else. So, let's explore some of these options. Ezeiruaku is gone in this mock draft. Yep. So who's left? Who's left? Mike Green is gone. Man, there's barely any edge rushers available at 29 right here. And this is probably not going to be the exact look as the real draft, but this could be similar. And at 29, they could be all gone. The next best edge, in my opinion, is Landon Jackson. He is available. And Landon Jackson. So right now, we're on the clock for the draft. We have to pick our guy. Landon Jackson is probably the next best guy. Um, we'll look at his profile because we need to see what we got in Landon Jackson because there's no other edge rushers left. If this is what the Commanders are going to be like. You know, if this comes down to Landon Jackson. Projected 2025. So his height, it's not bad. Vertical, broad jump. I'm not sure if this fits the Commanders' liking though. I'm not gonna lie to you. But who's the next edge? Jack Sawyer out of Ohio State. He's another option. And then yeah, that's it. That's all you got there. You have two options left. All these other guys are taken. We're at 29. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and draft. You know, we can't really, we could move back. We could trade. We could trade, but we're not going to do that. So I guess we're gonna have to select Landon Jackson. We're gonna draft him as our first edge rusher. And then we'll get to pick 61 here in a little bit. We don't need to do that right now though. So I think we have kind of talked about the edge enough. And I think and those of you that are commenting, I really appreciate the comments. I'll get to all of those comments at the end. For right now, though, leave a like on the live stream and subscribe to the channel. Keep commenting. I'll get to all of them at the end. We'll read those at the end. Right now, we need to get down to business, though. So we've came to a conclusion for the Washington Commanders at pick 29. You trade back if James Pierce Jr. and Ezeiruaku out of Boston College aren't there. That is when you trade back. Okay. Donovan Ezeiruaku out of Boston College, if he is there at 29, you can take him. You don't have to trade back. If James Pierce Jr. is there, you have to take him. There's no second thought. You have to take him. If none of those guys are there, like the mock draft I just did, if none of those guys are there, then you need to trade back to acquire more picks. You can trade with the Jets to get to pick 42, and then pick 73 you can get from the Jets as well with trading like pick 275 or whatever, along with pick 29. You can do that. There, you can trade back if James Pierce Jr., Ezeiruaku, Mike Green, all of them are gone. You can trade back because we know Landon Jackson is not going to go before 42. And then if you do trade back, you probably take Landon Jackson or Jack Sawyer at 42. But if we are just sitting there at 29 with James Pierce Jr. on the board or Donovan Ezeiruaku, you have to take one of those two. You have to take one of those two. No question, no thought about it. So we've came to a conclusion about pick 29. Now, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. What do you think about that? I think James Pierce Jr., if he's there, you have to take him even over Ezeiruaku. If Ezeiruaku's there and everybody else is gone, you have to take Ezeiruaku. So there's our conclusion about edge rusher and what we're going to do. So in a second, we're going to move on to pick 61 in the draft. But before we do that, leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel, and keep commenting. Okay. Now, we have to get down to business in the next pick in the draft. And let me make sure it's 61. I believe it's 61. 61 Commanders draft. Okay. Let's see. I'm still trying to figure out. I think it's 61. I just got to make sure. All right, Commanders draft picks. We have 29 overall, and then 29 overall, and then we have let's see. Come on, I'm trying to find this. I believe it's 61. I'm trying to find. I think it is. Yes, pick 61 in the NFL draft. Pick 61 in the NFL draft. We have pick 29 and 61. That is if we don't make any other trades. And so we got to get down to business here. This is going to be the tough part. We knew we're going to take an edge rusher, obviously 29. You're probably going to have to. We knew we were going to do that. This becomes the hard part here. Second round, wide receiver, running back, cornerback. If so, who? We're going to figure that out. We're going to figure that out here. And so I've seen a lot of different things. I've seen a lot of different guys being selected, different mock drafts. I've seen it all. Personally, I think that I would want the Commanders to draft a cornerback at pick 61. That is just me. I would like the Commanders to probably draft a running back round 3, round 4. You go with a wide receiver, probably Ty Felton. So, I don't mind. I don't mind us taking a cornerback at pick 61. I think that's what we need. I like the addition that they just got Igbenogany back. I think we need one more cornerback to solidify the cornerback struggles that we've had over the years. It's no secret that Lattimore didn't finish the season well. Do I think that's going to continue? No, I don't think. I think Lattimore finds a way to get it done this year. I think he has a great year. Sanders still obviously going to be a dog in year number 2. So I think that is that's not a problem at all. I think you have the most confidence in Mike Sanders still, for sure. All right, so let's go ahead and get into pick 61. Who do the Commanders take? And this is obviously them not trading back or trading up for anyone. This is just them as their original draft slots. Okay, so and this is all going to depend on who the Commanders take, before this and everything. If we don't take an edge rusher at 29, you have to take an edge rusher here. But like I said, I think we're going to take the edge rusher at 29, I would definitely say. So I don't think there's an issue there. I think that we definitely look at, we definitely need an edge rusher at 29. Draft. All right, I'm going to look at some people's mock drafts from all around here. We're going to look at full round mock draft here, if I can find one. All right, so we have found one. And all the available players. Okay. we have a lot of guys to work with here. We have a bunch of different guys here. We're going to explore them all. Um, who do we take as pick number 61? Who do we take? Okay. I'm going to share my screen so I can show you guys all the available options here. There's a lot of different guys that we could take here. And just to kind of give you a look at who's going to be around by 61, it's going to be a lot of cornerbacks that you can take. Like I said, I think I've decided that I think the Commanders are going to take a cornerback at 61. I would have to assume. But you never know that. They could be aggressive. They could definitely be aggressive, for sure. But I just, I think they have to take a cornerback. I think they have to solidify that spot, for sure. I think you have to. But here are some of the available players, that the Commanders could end up taking, and I'm trying to find. See, some of these guys at the Commanders, some of these mock drafts that are out here, we're gonna look at in a second. I just gotta find them. So give me a second to do that, and then we'll look at some of these available picks. I gotta find. Ezeiruaku, I see some buzz about him on here. Okay, so who do the Commanders take at 61? I definitely think that it's a cornerback. We've nailed that down. We've made conclusions about that. I definitely think it's going to be a cornerback at 61. I mean, it could be a running back, but I just think that, I think the Commanders are working on the defense. We heard the report, about Adam Peters wanting more defensive guys, to build them up this offseason. So I think they're going to definitely shoot for defensive guys more than likely. I definitely think that would be the case. I don't see another way around it. And I don't see them reaching that far. And you see guys. I mean, you see guys mock drafts. I mean, there's guys taking wide receivers, trading back. I mean, there's just so much that we could do. Okay, let's get down to it. Cornerbacks around 61. You had the first one you see, Darian Porter, Iowa State. That's not a bad pick at all. And then the next guy up is Trey Amos at 46. And I think this is very possible for the Washington Commanders. I think this is definitely a possible guy for the Commanders. I think that he shows a lot of skill. He has size, he has talent, and he would be a great match for the Commanders. So I think Trey Amos is one of the most likely guys if he doesn't go before 61. Maybe we trade up to even chase after him. I just think that there is so much value in Trey Amos that I think he's going to go pretty early. So I think that, the Commanders would have to probably trade up for Trey Amos, I think. And I'm not, I'm not saying he's the only guy available, but I think he's definitely one of them. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you guys. So we have to make a big decision here. Who are the Washington Commanders going to take at pick 61. This is I'm just doing a draft here where we don't trade up. We just stay with our guys, which is very likely of us doing. We could definitely do that. So you have Benjamin Morrison, who I think is going to go pretty early. I think Benjamin Morrison is definitely a guy that's going to go really, really early. And he was hurt most of last year, but I think that he's going to go early. And I think that there is a chance for the Washington Commanders, however, a very slim chance. And you don't even know, do they have interest in him or what? You don't know whether the Washington Commanders have interest in in some of these guys. So are we going to be there too? There's just so many different options, and there's so many different guys. There's Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky. He's definitely a big threat for the Commanders. They could definitely take him. And then there's the guys that that are going to go before the Washington Commanders can even get there. But Daniel Jeremiah actually made his top 50, and we are going to review that top 50 right now. I'm going to review the top 50 of Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft, and we'll see what he has. So we've already gone over 29 for the Commanders. We already know what they're going to do. We already know that they are probably going to take an edge rusher there. So we've decided the Commanders are probably going to take a cornerback with their next pick. Who are some of these guys? So cornerback. Benjamin Morrison is going to go before 61. Sadly, he's definitely a good prospect though. Ezeiruaku Thomas is there. Ezeiruaku Thomas, you could take him. He could be there possibly. He's definitely a good prospect. And then Trey Amos, you have at cornerback. And you have some other guys. Full cornerback. Okay. We have hit the jackpot for cornerbacks here. We've found every possible cornerback that could be drafted. And they actually give you a ranking. So at pick 61, maybe we trade up, maybe we get higher. Here's a ranking of the cornerbacks. So obviously you have Travis Hunter going 1, Will Johnson's going to go, Barron's going to go, Siobhan Revel, he could be there. He's 6'2", 194. He lacks a little bit of size, but he could be there. Benjamin Morrison, I think he's going to go. Amos, I would think would go. Ezeiruaku Thomas is a big. He could definitely fit. He's a big guy. I think the Commanders would like him. I think they could bring him in out of Florida State. And actually, to go back on Trey Amos, I think he actually could be a possibility as well. Zy Alexander, 187, 6'1". Maxwell Hairston, he could be there. He's shorter, though. He's 5'11", so I don't know about that. Darian Porter, 6'3". He brings you size out of Iowa State. He could be there. Denzel Burke out of Ohio State. He doesn't really have size, so he's not going to be available for the Commanders. They want size. And then O'Donnell Fortune, 6'1". He might be there. So here's a list of the cornerbacks. Which one's the most likely? Well, I think Amos and Morrison would go before 61. I think the most likely right now looking at it is Darian Porter, Iowa State. Now, he ranks close to last on the cornerback draft board, but these are the top cornerbacks that you don't really, that everybody looks at. There is still more available cornerbacks. Maybe the Commanders have their eye on a guy, already. Maybe they do. But Darian Porter, who is 6'3", 195, he brings size. he is, he's a late bloomer at the position. It looks like he used to play wide receiver, but he brings size. He brings what Adam Peters and Dan Quinn wants. I think Darian Porter is very likely at 61 for us. I'm not going to lie to you. I think that is going to be my next um kind of pick for the Commanders. I think that the Commanders go with Darian Porter at 61. I think they get their cornerback. Now let's see here. Yep, so 29, 61, 128, and then 205. 61, 29, 61, 29, 61, 28, 205. Okay. So I think at 61, I have them taking Darian Porter because of the size, and I think that he is a little bit underrated. He goes under the radar. I think out of Iowa State, the Washington Commanders take at 61 Darian Porter. So I think that's very likely, for sure. I think that he's definitely going to be there. Now I think that we could possibly see a running back or a wide receiver there at 61. There's no doubt about that. But I think I'm going to think that they go with a cornerback. I'm going to say they go with a cornerback. So at 61, you have your cornerback. You have the guy. Right now, we've taken pick 29, we've taken pick 61, and you have an edge rusher and you have a cornerback. What are the other needs? It would be running back and wide receiver, in my opinion. Yeah, running back and wide receiver, maybe a safety, but I think running back and wide receiver is definitely what we would like there. Okay, so running back. I think we're going to determine that at pick at pick 128, it's going to be a running back for sure, just because of the work we've done in the wide receiver room. We've improved it. We haven't really improved the running back room. So let's take a look at the running backs. I would say definitely Dylan Sampson. He definitely is going to go. Travion Henderson's going to go. Johnson's going to go. Hampton's going to go. Genty's going to go. And that is if we don't trade up. Judkins will go. Scattaboo will go. And so, you come down to a few guys that I like. Me, myself, being an Oregon fan, I like Jordan James for us. And he's only 5'10", but we're not looking for much size in the running back room. A lot of these guys are 5'10" anyway. So I think that size isn't really a big factor here. Most likely for the Commanders. Let's look at these. Jordan James is kind of a guy out of the backfield, kind of like an Eckler, though. He's an Eckler, so I don't know if they want another Eckler. Taj Brooks, day 3. He has talent. I think we'll get a guy before those two guys. I think we'll definitely get a guy before probably these last 3. Boise State, Brashard Smith working behind Ashton Genty. Scattaboo. Would Scattaboo be available? Would Scattaboo be available at pick 128? No, probably not. But there's a chance that he could be there, and there's a chance that he could fall. I think that he could be there. I think Devin Neal could definitely be there. I think Bashard Smith could be there. Um, Trevor Etienne. You have a bunch of different guys there. I think we're gonna go back to page 1 though, because I think the Commanders end up taking at pick 128 a guy down here. Now it's up to us to decide how they're gonna do that. I think Jordan James is out of the question. I think he's a little bit too small. I think he's kind of like an Eckler. I don't think they want another Eckler. I don't think they want a pass catcher out of the backfield. Taj Brooks, I think there's a possibility there. But I think the most likely one is Michigan, 226 pounds, 6'2", Kalel Mullings could be an option for the Commanders. So for right now, while we work through this, I think the Commanders go ahead and at 128, they take Kalel Mullings as their running back, which isn't bad in my opinion, but definitely not one of the top tier guys in this class. So then after that, we have one more pick to get to, which is not exciting. I can promise you that. It is 205, 205th pick. You have just a lot of guys down there, a lot of different guys you could take. I think they take a wide receiver here, maybe an offensive tackle. I think we have to look at the wide receiver position though. So we let's take a recap of what I've done here. What I've done is basically I have taken an edge rusher, James Pierce Jr. or Ezeiruaku. We've narrowed it down to that. I think they take a running back with 61. I think they take a cornerback with 61. I think they take a running back with 128. 205 is deep. But I think they go with the hometown guy. I think that Ty Felton out of Maryland, 6'1", he brings size. I think that Ty Felton is who the Commanders take with one of their final picks in the draft, with the second to last pick in the draft. So I think that they take Ty Felton there. Okay, so we've done the draft part we've done the draft part here. We've done a lot. And I think this is been a good draft so far, I think. I think we've gotten everything that we wanted. Let's look back here. So we needed an edge rusher. We got that. We needed a cornerback. We get that. We need a running back, and we get that. Wide receiver, we get a low-class, low-level one at the end of the draft. I don't think that was a bad draft. I think that that's pretty close to how it's going to go. Now, I didn't trade up for anyone to trade back for anyone. Obviously, I think that could happen. But for right now, we are going to just kind of stick with staying to the original and going by our own picks. By the way, breaking news: the Eagles have signed Azeez Ojulari from the Giants. So I keep saying Commanders. The Eagles are not afraid to get a pass rusher. The Eagles have signed Azeez Ojulari. Just wanted to bring that out there, which is very scary, to be honest. But that's why we get what's his name? Laramie Tunsil. So And I didn't pick tackle in that draft, but I think the Commanders are going to take a tackle probably in that draft. So I think we can beef up the O line even more. And so yeah, so I think that's definitely a possibility as well. But now that we've covered the draft and I've given you every player that the Commanders could possibly sign or draft, sorry. I've given you everything. So now we're going to go ahead and dive into the part of the live stream where I recap free agency. Now, I have to pull up every single free agency move that we made. So we're going to start by, I'm going to share my screen and show you every single signing the Commanders have made in free agency. And we're going to go over all of them. We're going to talk about all of them. And then we'll get to the comments and then we'll be out of here. So we've done the draft part of this. Now we need to get to free agency. Like the title says, free agency recap here. Okay, so free agency tracker. Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and look at the free agency tracker for the Commanders. Okay, so we have basically every move that the Commanders have made right here, right now. And we're going to go over all of them. Before we do, leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and we'll get to these moves. So Bobby Wagner, 1-year deal. I think this was a no-brainer. If Wagner wanted to stay, which he did, he made that very clear, then we had to sign him, and we did. He's going to be great. He can rush. He can be a rusher for us. He's just obviously a very great linebacker, very great in pass coverage, great at what he does. I think the Bobby Wagner signing was A+. I think we needed him back, and we got him for one more year. Then he's probably going to go ahead and retire on a great career after next year, hopefully with the Super Bowl, too, his final year. Kind of the same deal here. Zach Ertz, 1-year deal. I didn't when I just went over the draft for the last hour, I didn't bring up any tight ends because we're not going to need one through the draft. We're not going to sign one through the draft. Zach Ertz is back on a 1-year deal, likely to retire. Obviously on, after this year. Zach Ertz is going to retire probably, and he's getting pretty old. Hopefully he doesn't have a decline. Hopefully he's not washed this year. Hopefully he's the exact same from last year because we need him. Next up is Chris Rodriguez Jr., running back, exclusive rights tender. You bring him back on the tender, which I don't mind, to be honest. I don't mind the tender. I think I've always liked Chris Rodriguez Jr. I've always been high on him. I think that's fine. I think that we needed a running back. I don't know, and we'll get to Jeremy McNichols down here in a little bit, but I don't know why you bring back Rodriguez and McNichols. I don't know why. But we'll get to that in a second because I have a lot to say about that. Next up is Zane Gonzalez. I'm not confident in him, but it is only a 1-year deal. I'm not confident in Zane Gonzalez. I'm not. Okay, and I'm just trying to be straight up truthful to you guys. I'm not confident in him as a kicker for us. I'm not, okay? But that doesn't mean that we can't go in with confidence. We need to raise the level of confidence, including myself and Zane Gonzalez. He didn't have a bad year last year, the games that he was with us. I'm going to try to trust him. I'm going to try to have confidence in him. I'll try to remember that he was okay last year. John Bates up next. 3-year deal. Why? I I think a lot of you will be saying that he really blocks well. And I'd agree with you on that. I'd agree that he blocks well. He's a very good blocker. He might be the best blocker on this team, kind of like a mini O lineman. Why a 3-year deal, and why are you paying him so much? I don't know. I don't understand it. I'm not sure why the Commanders really re-signed John Bates, but the blocking must be top tier. The blocking must be next level. John Bates is a 3-year deal this year. Tressway, just to get the punter position out of the way. Tressway re-signed. Love the guy. He's all right. We don't really care about the punter position. I don't know about you, but I don't. And Tressway works. He's good enough. And so I'm fine with it. I'll take it. Whatever. Tressway goes back to a 1-year deal. And then here is the confusing part. Jeremy McNichols is re-signed to a 1-year deal. Why? Why are you re-signing Jeremy McNichols? I don't understand that whatsoever. I don't understand it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Now, if you're going to let Rodriguez go, then you can sign McNichols back. But if you're going to sign both of them, we can't go into the season with 5 running backs. I mean, because we're going to draft one. We're going to draft a running back. So how can we go into the season with 5 running backs? We'd have the draft running back. We'd have B-Rob, Eckler, who are definite. And then we'd have McNichols and Rodriguez, which I don't know why they re-signed McNichols. I don't understand it, but I'll trust him on that. He's really good at blocking. So maybe that is, maybe that's why they decided to re-sign him, but it is what it is. Next up, Marcus Mariota at QB. Obviously, 1-year deal, not bad. He's definitely on the older side. We're not looking for a quarterback anymore. We don't need a good backup. We just need a mentor for Jaden Daniels. I think Marcus Mariota is that guy, former Heisman winner. He brings a lot to the table. He's a very good quarterback still. And if Jaden Daniels would ever get hurt, I would have confidence in him to come in and throw a few dots and a few touchdowns and win a few games for us. But the intent is obviously not for Jaden Daniels to be hurt. Marcus Mariota is a great mentor. He's a great guy in the locker room, and so I'm fine with the signing. Next up is Kevin Seymour, cornerback, 1-year deal. Really good in special teams coverage, really good special teamer. And so that is why he was re-signed. And it obviously you can see a trend here, all 1-year deals besides the John Bates one. Is Kevin Seymour doesn't do much at the cornerback position, but he is a good special teamer. I guess that's why they wanted him back. I don't know. And then you have another confusing signing here. KJ Osborne. What did he do last year? I mean, he was hurt last year, obviously. 57 yards, I believe, last year. He didn't do anything last year. So, he's going to have to show us that he can show up this year. You're not just going to sit on the bench again. You're not just going to be hurt all year again, KJ. So we better get that in check. And then here's the less confusing signing. Noah Brown, obviously last year, this is only a 1-year deal. Would have liked to see a 2-year deal, but it is what it is. This guy wasn't supposed to be the wide receiver 2 on this football team last year. He wasn't. And he turned into that role very quick. He was the other guy opposite Terry McLaurin. He had 457 yards last year. And so, he was a great player last year. Obviously got hurt for the last, I think like 7 games last year he got hurt. So I like this re-signing a lot. And I think we needed Noah Brown, Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Noah Brown. That works perfect. I'll take it. Perfect wide receiver room. And we're going to add a guy in the draft too. So I like Noah Brown. Dieter to a 1-year deal. That's hard for me to figure out. I don't know why Dieter was re-signed, but it is what it is. I don't have much to say about him. He's just all right. Trent Scott being re-signed to a 1-year deal. He's all right. He's going to get the job done. And I think the Commanders really like him. So Igbenogany, this is a great great signing. 1-year deal. Would have liked to see 2 or 3 years, but Igbenogany, I'm high on him. I'm a fan of him. I'm really a big fan of Igbenogany, what he did last year. He's a former first round pick. He's really good. And he, he's supposed to be the outside cornerback last year, but with Mike Sanders still moving outside, Igbenogany had to move inside. He fit that slot really well. And you kind of saw all for the rest of last year at the end of the year, that's the way it was. Lattimore outside, Sanders still outside, Igbenogany inside. And I really liked it. It really worked well. So I think Igbenogany was a great re-signing. I think we needed him back. So I like that. Nick Bellore, special teams ace. Nick Bellore, I believe this was a 2-year deal, so this is wrong right here. This is wrong. Nick Bellore is back with the Commanders, so I like that a lot, and I we'll take it. Special teams ace, not going to do much at the linebacker position, but he is a special teams ace, and we needed him back on this team for special teams wise. Now let's get to the guys that have left the Commanders, which really isn't that much. You have Jonathan Allen, 3-year deal with the Vikings, $51 million. So, it's not bad. It's, I would have liked to not have released Jonathan Allen, but we had to. Nobody else would have traded for him, or sorry, nobody else would have wanted him. But the Vikings 3-year deal, and we have lost Jonathan Allen, but we replaced him with Javon Kinlaw, so I'm fine with it. De'Ami Brown, Jaguars 1-year deal, $10 to $12 million. I mean, how are you getting $10 to $12 million? I mean, the Jaguars are just dumb for that. He's not that good, and Jaden Daniels made him look like a good wide receiver for some reason. Before we get to the next guy, leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you're new, keep commenting things. I will get to all the comments at the end. But I think De'Ami Brown, I don't know why he got paid that much by the Jags, but bye. We didn't like you. You were going into the year 4 anyway, so it is what it is. Jeremy Chin, Raiders 2-year deal. I would have liked to seen the Commanders re-sign Jeremy Chin, and that might be unpopular. I would have liked to seen the Commanders re-sign him. I would have been a big fan of that. But it is what it is, and we've lost him to the Raiders. $17 million deal for the Raiders. I think we needed Jeremy Chin. He was a game changer. He hit hard. He did a lot of things well. I think we needed him. I liked him, so I'm surprised that they didn't re-sign Jeremy Chin, but it is what it is. Cornelius Lucas went to the Browns on a 2-year deal. I don't have anything to say about him. So there's that. Derek Forrest to the Bills on a 1-year deal. I think they'll end up cutting him next year. What didn't really do much. I like Defo. I'm happy for him. Go do your best at the Bills. We didn't really need you. Mykal Walker, linebacker. Cardinals 1-year deal. Didn't do much last year. We don't need you. Bye. Benjamin St-Juste, Canadian. Chargers. I don't know what you're doing, but they picked up Benjamin St-Juste on a 1-year deal, so he's obviously gonna be terrible, and then the Chargers will end up cutting him next year. I hope he's not terrible. I like St-Juste. I'm rooting for him. I have no hate against him, but it is what it is. Olamide Zaccheaus went to the Bears. Obviously, 1-year deal for him, and I don't think we needed to re-sign him. I think some of y'all thought that, but I don't think we needed to re-sign him at all. That's okay. We'll play the Bears for the 4th straight year in a row, so we'll see how good he's doing with Caleb Williams in a little bit here, in a minute. And then here, actually, we have one more guy to get to. This website's not updated. Dante Fowler Jr. to the Cowboys, $8 million deal for, I believe, 1 or 2 years. Dante is a big loss, and I would have liked to seen the Commanders pay him $8 million, but he probably wouldn't have taken that from the Commanders. He probably wanted above $10 million. And Adam Peters and Dan Quinn had their deal in mind, and they weren't going to go higher than that. So I respect the the loyalty, kind of, because the loyalty to their cap. They weren't going to pay him over probably $10 million, and they told him that, and he didn't want it. Then he goes and gets $8 million with the Cowboys. So he returns home, but we have lost Dante Fowler Jr. And then we'll get to these signings here for the Washington Commanders. We'll just start up. Let's just start right here. Deebo Samuel, we traded for him. I just wanted to fit that in there. We do have Deebo Samuel. Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle, 3-year deal, $45 million. This is steep for a contract for Javon Kinlaw, but I don't mind it. I think that he's a good replacement. I think at the end of the day, you have to say, is he better than Jonathan Allen? And I think a lot of you will say yes. I think I'm going to say yes too, the way that Jonathan Allen was playing. And, let's not forget that the guaranteed money is $30 million, so we don't have to pay him all of that. And Jonathan Allen got $30 million in guarantees as well, but he got $51 million. So, they paid him even more. Tunsil trade with the Texans. Yeah, baby. I love this move. You're protecting Jaden Daniels' blindside. You really beef up the O-line. 5-time Pro Bowl Laramie Tunsil. Great pickup there. I love it, and I think that it's going to work really well. Here you have your replacement for Jeremy Chin, Will Harris, safety, 2-year deal, $8 million. You have your replacement for Chin, and I like it. He's a dog, man. Look at his tape. He has really good tape. So I like Will Harris a lot, and I think that Will Harris is a dog, and I think that $8 million isn't that much. It's less than you would pay Chin, so I like it. Eddie Goldman, he retired before and he came back. He's with the Commanders, 1-year deal. A depth signing and to beef up the D-line, to mentor young guys, to have experience, all that. Jonathan Jones, 1-year deal, $6.5 million. Again, we needed another cornerback. Can he start? I don't know. Probably not. But Jonathan Jones, good pickup. He's short. He doesn't have size, but he's a pretty good player. And, the reason that we bring him here is because turnovers. We want turnovers. If Jonathan Jones can get turnovers, then he serves a purpose here. Dietrich Wise Jr., great signing. He had 5 sacks last year, $5 million deal, 1-year deal as well. So if he doesn't perform, we can cut him next year. Dietrich Wise Jr., awesome. I love this signing. Beef up the D-line. Could be a starter as well. And then this is kind of a signing like Jacob Martin is like, we need an edge rusher. We'll pay a cheap guy. So Jacob Martin, we have signed Jacob Martin, $3 million 1-year deal. Jacob Martin is just kind of a signing that says we need an edge rusher right now. And in case we can't get a great one in the draft, we'll sign you, Jacob Martin. That's what that says to me. And so, yep. So we've gone over free agency. We've gone over the draft. But I want to talk about free agency a little bit more. Leave a like on the stream if you're in here. Subscribe to the channel as well, and we'll get to the next topic. In a second here. Trying to find. We'll get to the next topic in a second here. Thank you guys for all your support, by the way. And all right, so obviously we heard this morning that the Commanders had interest in Azeez Ojulari. Now, I'm sure, as most of you know, he just did sign with the Eagles, so I would have loved Ojulari. I would have loved him. Like, man, I can't stress that enough. Like, a situational pass rusher is so important in this league, and a guy to get one-on-one with the quarterback is so important. I just think that he would have been so good in DC, man. So I just think that I would have loved him in DC, and I think that he would have been a great, great player here. Azeez Ojulari has gone to the Eagles. But to wrap everything up, I'm going to go over all of these comments and probably talk for about another 40, 50 minutes, and then we'll be out of here. So what is good? What is good, Bob, from NC, North Carolina? That's good. DMV finally a hot destination for first time in 3 decades. Players want to come to DC, and Adam and Dan, we trust. I agree. This is definitely a destination for a lot of players. And, we heard from Adam Schefter last year. It's one of the most surprising reports of the year. He said players want to come to DC. Players want to be a part of this thing going on. But, the unsung hero for bringing all these players in is not Jaden Daniels. It's Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn is why all these players come in, is why all these players want to come to Washington. It's because Dan Quinn's leadership. I really do believe that's one of the biggest parts of why all these players want to come here. It's definitely got to be up there for one of the biggest reasons. And yes, Jaden Daniels is definitely one of the biggest reasons that players want to come here. I think that Dan Quinn just holds just as much of value to players. They want a good leader in the locker room. They want a good coach, and they get one in Dan Quinn. I think he's a great leader, and I think that he's kind of established himself. He has gained a lot of respect. I think that he has a lot of players that want to play for him. Over these years, he's gained respect, gained trust, and you just get it, man. They would take best available player. So I'm assuming you're talking about pick 29. You said they would take the best available player, edge, strong safety, offensive lineman, wide receiver, running back, all needs. I agree. We definitely need all those. I definitely think you're right about that. They will take the best available player. Again, like that's my theory. I think the best available player is the guy you take, right? I mean, we need an edge rusher, but there's guys after the draft that are still going to be free agents. Who knows? Zadarius Smith might still be a free agent. We could sign him. If we don't have a great draft in getting an edge rusher, we can kind of get a guy after the draft. There's still a lot of moves to be made. There's still a lot of time to be had. And so there is a lot. And, I just think that the Commanders will take the best possible player. And I think that's my theory too. I think I would love to take the best available player. Unless it's a quarterback, right? If this is a quarterback we're talking, no. No. We have Marcus Mariota. We have Jaden Daniels. That's all we need. We're not taking the quarterback. But otherwise, if it's the best available players, we take it. Thank you, Bob, for commenting. Command the field. What is up? If edge isn't there, they're going to take PBA. No question. They're not reaching. I agree with that, to be honest with you. I definitely agree with that. I think they will take PBA if edge isn't there. But most likely you're going to see an edge being taken. And there's still guys left in free agency, like I said, but you're going to see an edge be taken most likely, but I definitely agree with that statement for sure. Dreftar, Glorious King. I'm not sure if you're talking about a player or me. Hey, man, if you're talking about me, thank you. Von Miller is only 36. No. With all due respect, no. No on the Von Miller's only 36 comment. I don't want Von Miller. I think he's washed. I think his career is on the decline. I don't think, Adam Peters and the Commanders, I don't think they have any reported interest in him. Now, if we're desperate, if we need a guy, if we don't have a single pass rusher heading into the month of May, I think we definitely could take Von Miller, but right now that's definitely not an option for the Commanders. But you're right, he is only 36. I mean, but I wouldn't want the Commanders to take Von Miller at all. I think I'd probably crash out. But like I said, if there's no guys left, we don't have a situational pass rusher, we need a guy, he could still be on the board. Nobody else is going to take him. So maybe a cheap deal too. Maybe like a $4 million, $3 million deal. You take him. If you are in here, leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel, and we'll keep moving on with these comments. Keep commenting, by the way. I'll read them all. So no to the Von Miller, with all due respect. Martinez or ETN might benefit in the running back range. I believe you're talking about. I like ETN. I think that ETN's very underrated, but I don't think Martinez is a guy for the Commanders. I don't think he fits the scheme, but I don't know. ETN might. I don't have the most knowledge on ETN, but I know that Martinez would not be a Commander, just the way that these guys roll, sadly. But yeah, so I like that. You said insurance. Okay. 10-point sacks over right tackle. Okay. Tone setter. Okay, and that'll do it for the comments, though. You guys have given your opinion. If you want to give your opinion, just comment down below. Comment more stuff. I don't care. And I'll continue reading. And I low-key wish that the Commanders would have signed Ojulari, but man, we have to trust Adam Peters and Dan Quinn. We do. That's what it comes down to, the trust. And again, like Adam Peters and Dan Quinn, they led us to an NFC championship last year. So, we have to trust them. We have to put our faith in them. Compensatory for Allen if he were to have been retained. And who is that again? Who's that for Allen? If you could say his name, I don't know who you're talking about there. If he were to be retained. Running backs brought back our insurance knowing the scheme. So you're talking about okay, so you said Jonathan. Okay, I get you now. But to get to this, running backs brought back our insurance for knowing the scheme. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. And when these guys are around the same scheme a long time, they get familiar with it. So I assume I know you're talking about Chris Rodriguez and Jeremy McNichols. Is that, that's definitely one of the factors. I don't know if that's the whole reason, but I definitely think, what's his name? McNichols can block really well. Rodriguez can come into a game and change it. So those are the other reasons. But yes, Fowler expendable, seeing he got 10 over right tackles. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. He got 11 sacks, actually, 10.5. He's a good player. I don't know why they weren't in a hurry to get a deal done with Fowler. I don't. I thought he was one of the best players last year, and I thought Dan Quinn really liked him. I thought these two would be in agreement with each other. But then you have Fowler tweeting on Twitter, all the stuff about him, the disrespect is crazy, and this all comes back to Dan Quinn and Adam Peters had a number in their mind, and they weren't going higher. They weren't going higher. And so it's sad to see Dante Fowler leave, and especially to a team we're going to play twice. But it is what it is. And, it comes down to that in the NFL sometimes. Sometimes you can't get a deal done. So we have to continue to trust AP and Dan Quinn through that. I did not like to see him leave. And kind of when I saw Jacob Martin being signed to a 1-year deal, $3 million, when I saw Jacob Martin being signed, I kind of went silent for a second and got my thoughts, because I think that the Jacob Martin signing was the end to Dante Fowler. And everybody in the Commanders locker room, organization, they knew it. They knew it. But we just didn't find out until it was official. So I kind of knew that the Martin signing was the end of Fowler, and they weren't going to be able to get a deal done. And it sucks, man. It sucks that Fowler couldn't get back here. And again, I don't know why they weren't heavier on signing Fowler. I don't know. All right, I don't know. I just, I just find it odd that the Commanders weren't in a hurry to get Fowler back. Like, you look at it, he was the best guy that we had signed at free agency last year. Maybe Jeremy Chin too, but we lost both of them. I mean, Frankie Louvu as well too. But Fowler, I thought that was a need for this team. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought Fowler was a need for this team. So I hate seeing him leave, but it is what it is. The new corner is a tone setter. So I'm assuming you are talking about Jonathan Jones. Jonathan Jones he's a shorter guy, but I think he can get turnovers. You're saying he's a tone setter, so I'm going to trust it. I would like to see him get a few turnovers this year. Let's get more interceptions, and you're there. But I've never watched him play that much. I mean, we've all seen him in the Patriots when they were really good. We saw that, and he was never a standout guy. Neither was Dietrich Wise, but he was never a standout guy. But he was a valuable player. He was a good player. And so this is just a 1-year deal. He's going to be gone next year, most likely. He's old, and the Commanders look to improve the cornerback room. Now, I don't know if he's going to be a starter. That's kind of one of the things I'm questioning, but I don't mind the signing, and I like seeing them sign him. $6.5 million isn't that much. But Jonathan Jones is a Washington Commander, so I'm excited to see what he can do on the field this year. I mean, I don't think that he's going to be a bad player, but I hope he doesn't go out there and get burnt. He's 5'9". He's short. He doesn't bring size. I thought the Commanders wanted size. So it is a little bit of a confusing signing, but, I'm not mad at all with that signing. I like that signing a lot, actually. So we'll take it. We'll talk about a few edge rushers from free agency, because I'm still hype on free agency. I'm still excited about free agency. I want to talk about edge rushers that are available in free agency. There's a few guys for the Commanders: Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Matthew Judon, Von Miller, Carl Lawson, Carlos Watkins, and the guy I'm getting this from, he says any guys I would call if you're the Commanders. These guys have all proven something at edge. Like, I'm looking at Zadarius Smith. He had 9 sacks last year. If this guy can, he is 32, but if he could be productive, and he could get you still like 8+ sacks, that's a win. That's also a guy to teach the younger guys too. So I'd like another body in the edge room. And like I did the mock draft. I already showed you guys who I thought the Commanders were going to draft. I know we're going to get an edge rusher. But even on top of that, when you lose Fowler, you kind of need another guy. Like, you still need another guy. You can't rely on Jacob Martin and a rookie, in my opinion. You would bring back Preston. So Preston, I'm guessing Preston Smith. Yeah, Preston Smith, you're saying. I wouldn't mind that, but I would definitely bring back Za'Darius Smith and Matthew Judon. I would definitely give them a call first over Preston Smith, but I do understand what you're saying here. Let's look at Preston Smith. What did he do last year? Because, and I know sacks don't determine a defensive end and how good he is, but Preston Smith only had 4.5 sacks last season, so I don't know if I would say I want to bring back Smith. Whereas Za'Darius Smith had 9 sacks last season, so I would bring Za'Darius Smith in here. And we'll take a look at Matthew Judon. He can set the edge, which will I don't know what Suffus is, but he can set the edge, and he's proven to be pretty good. But he's definitely on the older side. Matthew Judon had 5.5 sacks last season, so he is one more sack better than Preston Smith. So, I don't mind any of these guys, but any of them, I'd give them a call. Man. Especially seeing the Eagles attack an edge rusher. Like, the Eagles' defense is going to be stacked this year. They're going to be good. Ojulari is a good pickup for them. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that Ojulari is going to have the best season ever, but he's a good player. And, that has to worry us as Commanders fans. I'd like the Commanders to get Ojulari, but it is what it is. And when you don't put effort into getting players, you don't get them. And, that's the way it is in this league. And some teams are going to outbid you. Maybe the Commanders had interest in Ojulari, but the Eagles got him. And that's the reality of it. Now we have to focus on the draft. We have to focus on the draft right now. And I've already talked about those guys. James Pierce Jr., Donovan, Ezeiruaku. He's a guy, they're all guys. And so we need one of them in the draft. And even with that, I don't know if you fill this room out, great, but it is what it is. And the Commanders will do what they need to do. Like, Adam Peters and Dan Quinn will do what they need to do. Okay, they know all the needs for this team. We need to trust them. And so it is what it is. We didn't end up getting an edge rusher in free agency, and it is what it is. Now we have to focus on the draft and the guys in the draft. They will get one of these guys in the draft. Trade mandatory for me at 29 and 61. Yeah, I think you probably should trade back. Like I said, I've already proposed it too. I think you trade back with the Jets to get to 42, and then you acquire pick 73. I would like that. I would definitely like that. And that is if the edge rushers don't go. either way, at 42, you'd have an edge rusher there available to take. Now, hopefully, it would be the guy that they want, but I think a trade is mandatory. I think a trade is mandatory for me, too. I agree with you there. You know, these you know, what do you expect? If you trade for Debo and Tunsil, I just think, what do you expect? Um you did it yourself. You traded for him yourself, so you're not going to have much draft capital, but it is what it is. And you did improve your team by getting Debo and Tunsil, so I will take that for sure. Not bad. I'm assuming you're saying to my proposal from the Jets. I would like us to trade back with the Jets, 42, pick 42, and get pick 73 too. Already have it played out in my head. There's other teams we could trade back with too. I've heard even a spot back with the Bills. I've heard everything. So there's a lot that Adam Peters and Dan Quinn are gonna have to figure out on draft night. But at the end of the day, they can do it. These two guys, they're veterans in the sport. They know what they're doing. So I'm not going to doubt them. I'm not going to sit here and doubt them. No, I definitely trust them. I definitely trust them. So I am going to put all my effort into finding the best edge rusher in the draft. I hope Adam Peters is saying that. I'm sure he is. Because when you're not focused on an edge rusher in free agency, you have to be on the draft. You have to be on the draft. I hope Adam Peters is fully on the draft by now because he's not being aggressive in free agency. And I'm not complaining about that, but I'm just saying. $42 and $73 will bring a 2 and 3. Yeah, 2 and 3s. Yeah. I definitely think so. And that would be what you want, right? I mean, that would be perfect. That's why you see it on a lot of mock drafts. You see those trades happening. For perhaps, yes. But when you do that, you might give up another pick. I don't know. You might give up like the pick 275. You might have to give up another pick for that. So it does cost a little bit, but I think it would, because you look at 29 and 42, that's a 13 spot difference. What is 13 spots going to do? Like, especially if you're looking for an edge rusher, if you're looking for like a quarterback, that matters. But you're looking for an edge rusher, not much is going to change if you go from 29 to 42. So I would propose a trade, on draft night. And it's going to be very exciting. I think the draft is like April 26th or something like that. It's going to be very exciting. Like, there's a lot going to take place on draft night. I can't wait. And we're going to continue to do these draft talks. But for right now, that's going to be all I got. I thank you guys for all your support, the likes, the views, the subscribers. I thank you guys for all of it. It's been a fun stream. Thank you guys for hanging with me. But for right now, that is all I got. Peace out and hail to the Washington Commanders. Have a good night, everybody. I thank you guys for joining in. Peace.